All right. Well, there is some new controversy today after MSNBC host, Martin Bashir says that Republicans are using the IRS targeting scandal as just another excuse to bash President Obama. But he really goes further than that. Watch this.
Despite the complete lack of any evidence linking the president to the targeting of Tea Party groups, Republicans are using it as their latest weapon in the war against the black man in the White House.
Really? That's where we're at, apparently, in this dialogue. Doug Schoen joins me now, former advisor to President Bill Clinton, and Monica Crowley, radio talk show host. Both are Fox News contributors. Doug, what do you make of that?
Well, look, it's horrific, Martha, and you don't have to be a Democrat or a Republican to call it horrific. To interject race into the process when the question is, what did the IRS do, why did they do it, and most importantly, what role did the White House have in this, and to talk about targeting the black man in the White House, I mean, my skin is crawling, Martha. Yeah. It's abhorrent.
I mean, it's such a cheap argument, really, and it undercuts. I guess Martin Bashir is fine with all of this stuff that we're learning about the IRS. Monica Crowley, I guess he's fine with, as Elijah Cummings just talked about, with the IRS using your money, my money, and everybody else out there's money to buy these lavish conferences and videotapes. I guess he's okay with all of that.
Well, when he can't argue on the merits, Martha, he's got to go to the refuge of the far left, which is racial division. I mean, every time you think that the left has jumped the shark, they go one better or worse, depending on how you look at it. It is, of course, patently absurd. I totally agree with Doug, but it's actually worse than that. It's more destructive, because whenever you inject race where it doesn't belong and where it has no place, you are contributing to a very corrosive aspect of what's happening to our country. One of our big guiding principles here in America is out of many, one. What the left always tries to do is divide in order to conquer, so that they can score political points and advance their agenda. It's so destructive and it's so despicable.
I understand what you're saying. And Doug, when you look at the heart of the IRS matter, which he says is being used by the Republicans to give a hard time to the black man in the White House, as he puts it. I mean, at the heart of this IRS matter are issues, as Monica says, that really matter to all Americans. I mean, Democrats typically, you would imagine, would be extremely concerned about this, sort of indiscriminate use of IRS power to shut out a voice in this country. Am I right?
Oh, of course you're right. And Elijah Cummings' comments just now
absolutely
reflect that. And this is an issue that has nothing to do with race, Martha. It has to do with what happened. And specifically, we now know that Deputy Campaign Manager Stephanie Cutter of the Obama campaign met in the White House with then IRS Commissioner Douglas Shulman, ostensibly to talk about the implementation of Obamacare. But I think there are real questions for Stephanie Cutter and for Mr. Shulman about what was discussed and why was a campaign official in meetings with the head of the IRS.
And you would think that would be a question that Martin Bashir and any solid journalist would be interested in knowing the answer to.
Absolutely.
Why was Doug Shulman there 157 times? And Doug brings up this interesting point. Because you don't have to waste your time on television talking about these things that don't matter and are totally irrelevant when issues like that are staring you right in the face, Monica.
Well, exactly right. I mean, Doug raises the question about Stephanie Cutter. She is a main political operative for Barack Obama. And at the time of these IRS meetings that now she just blurted out that she was sitting in on, her main job was making sure that the incumbent president got reelected. And what we're seeing now is that all of this IRS harassment and intimidation had a material effect on not one but two election cycles, 2010 and 2012. What was she doing in these meetings? These are the kinds of questions that Martin Bashir and others should be asking, but when they can't deal in the reality and they don't want to deal with the facts, Martha, they go to the refuge of a scoundrel, which is race.
It really is. Monica, thank you very much. Doug, thanks to you as well.
Thank you.
See you guys later.